So, Melwheezy here again. As you can tell by my hat, I am a huge Transformers fan. I have been ever since the 1984 cartoon back in the 80s. Um, and I want to talk about this rumored reboot of the Transformers live action films. So far, there's been 7 live action films, if you count the Transformers Rise of the Beast. If you count the animated films, the one from the 80s and the one that gets did recently, there's been 9 total films. So obviously, there's a fandom who is screaming for more Transformers content. Question is, what Transformers will we get? Will we get more of the Bayformers? Will we get more of these recent iterations that are still graphically pleasing to look at? The CGI is still cool, the action is still pretty cool, but maybe the quality isn't there as it was. And you could say you didn't like the Michael Bay films, but quite frankly, the Michael Bay films were they were successful. They were box office smashes. They made a lot of money, and they put butts in seats. So now they're rumored to be bringing Michael Bay back, and they're bringing back Shia LaBeouf, and they're bringing back Megan Fox and the original cast. They're supposed to be bringing multiple cast members from different Transformers movies to make this movie. Um, and I tell you what I'd like to see them do, and I don't know if anybody else has said this yet, but I'd love to see them do a remake of the cartoon movie back in the 80s. I need to look it up on IMDb, so give me a second here. This is completely unprofessional. But let me look it up real quick because I want to get the date and everything right. Because I feel like that story is so compelling that that would be great live action. I mean, obviously, you'd have to adapt it a little bit, you'd have to change some things, but I don't think we've seen a really good live action Hot Rod or Rodimus Prime. I mean, they hinted to him in one of the Transformers movies, but he wasn't I don't even think he even spoke in the movie. So to me it wasn't quite the same. And yeah, the last Transformers movie was in 2024. That was Transformers 1, which was animated, which by the way was a solid great movie, but it didn't do well at the box office. I think it was a box office flop, and they had this interest in doing more of those, but I think because it didn't gross enough money, they decided to pump the brakes on that and go back to live action because that's where the money is at. Um, so the movie I'm talking about would have been the movie in the 80s. Why am I having such a hard time finding this? So, anyways, there was a Transformers the movie. Yeah, 1986. Okay, so it was made in 1986. It was an hour and 24 minutes long, rated PG, but it was a fantastic movie. The purpose of the movie was to usher out the old Autobots and bring in a new generation of Autobots to basically sell new toys. So in the process, they killed our fearless leader, Optimus Prime. They killed him off, and he gave the matrix of leadership at that time to a young, up and coming, kind of a young whippersnapper. You want to call him young, rebellious, kind of freestyling, a young Autobot named Hot Rod, who was kind of a show off. He didn't listen. He was kind of the typical rebellious teen from the 80s. And he ended up becoming, I think eventually, actually, I think, if I remember right, and people are going to eat me up in the comments on this, but originally I think Ultra Magnus became the successor to Optimus Prime. And eventually he stepped down. I don't know if he was killed or I can't remember now, but he stepped down and he gave the matrix of leadership to Hot Rod, who became Rodimus Prime. It was a very compelling story. It's a shame that a great character like Optimus had to die to push the story forward, so to speak. But it was so compelling, and I remember as a kid, like probably even shedding tears about my hero getting killed. And I thought to myself, what if they did that in live action? What if they could capture that type of emotion and something like that in a live action Transformers movie? It really hasn't been done yet. I think the Michael Bay movies were great as far as spectacle, showing us a lot of special effects, great huge robot fights on highways and huge landscapes. But what if they could take that movie script, that story from 1986, and bottle it up and do it live action? Here's a synopsis, so if anybody hasn't seen this, but if you have never seen the 1986 Transformers movie, cartoon movie, it's a classic. If you've never seen it, I really advise you go back and rent it or buy it. It's just fantastic. So here's the premise. The Autobots must stop a colossal, planet-consuming robot, Unicron, who goes after the Autobot matrix of leadership. That's what Prime gives to Ultra Magnus and ultimately goes to Hot Rod or Rodimus Prime. At the same time, they must defend themselves against an all-out attack from Decepticons. So it kind of has this like huge match, huge battle between Megatron and Optimus Prime battling for who's going to be the leader of the robots from Cybertron. So it was really good. I just wonder, could they adapt that 1986 movie today? And I don't know. I mean, it was definitely kind of cheesy for the time. It was definitely a mirror of the times. The 80s soundtrack, you got the touch, you got the power. It was definitely a child of the 80s, the way it was written, the way it was shot, the way it was done. I don't know if audiences would be pulled to that now, because it's almost like the Karate Kid version of a cartoon, right? They use 80s music to kind of pull you in, a good story, kind of heartfelt, pull you in. So I don't know. I don't know if that would work in 2026 or 27. But at any rate, they're trying to bring all the original players back from the Michael Bay, films and do something different and bring all of them back together in one big film. So I'm curious to see what happens. I still think that would be a cool storyline to do. And I think a lot of OG fans like me would love to see a live action version of the Transformers animated movie. I guess I don't know if we'll ever get it. I don't know if we'll ever see it. So what do you guys think? Comment down in the comment section below and let me know, what would you like to see in the next Transformers movie? Would you like to see a reenactment of the cartoon we grew up with, the original animated movie? Would you like to see a new storyline? Would you like to see a new leader of the Autobots? Or do you just want another great, explosive, CGI-written film like Michael Bay is known for? So let me know. And peace out, guys. Peace.